So, continuing the Japanese guinea pig film series, we come to what is known as the fourth film because it was the fourth released, but technically this was the last one. And if it ended with this one, it would have ended so much better. Not that these films go in any kind of sequence or story, but uh, Guinea Pig 4 is Mermaid in a Manhole, which has kind of a dumb title. But, so the first two were the faux simulated snuff films. And then 3, He Never Dies. And technically, the fourth one made, but the last to be released, and is considered the last one, which I'll get to next, were just flat out comedies. And then they went back to their seriousness with this, and the one that I'll be, the one I'll be reviewing right after this is the other serious one. After that, I'll get to the other comedy. That's technically fourth. But Mermaid in a Manhole came out in 1988, written and directed by Hideshi Hino, who also did Flowers of Flesh and Blood. And I will say, for the part of the series after the fake snuff films, this one would be the best. I would say this one is my favorite. It's the only one where, okay, yes, it is, even though it has a story and a traditional narrative, it still has the grossest effects, which, if you're watching a guinea pig film, I know gore doesn't make everything. Again, as big a gore hound as I am, I still like story and acting. But with guinea pig, would you really watch it for anything else? No. But aside from the most outrageous effects, again from 3 on, I would say this one has the one where the acting isn't atrocious across the board. There's still some in here. Mostly overacting, really bad acting, especially with the 2 neighbor characters, whether they're brother and sister or a couple, I don't know. But the story is kind of outlandish, but there's elements to the story that I like these sort of like tragic love stories in a weird way that is common amongst Japanese horror or just Japanese storytelling. And this is another one that's very short. It's only like 50 minutes or so. But this doesn't even say who's in it. I guess it doesn't matter. But basically, it's going to be very simple. The plot revolves around this painter whose wife died recently. Since he's sort of become a recluse, he does go out and find inspirations to paint, but he goes down to the sewer because as a young boy, that was his favorite spot. It used to be a big, beautiful lake or pond or whatever, or a river. It was a nice, big, beautiful river. Then it dried up. Sewer came in, and now it's all trash. The river's also, I believe, where he says he met his wife. He says something about seeing a mermaid one day when he was a boy and sort of secretly always trying to find her again. Just drooled on myself. And then one day he goes down there to find something to paint, and he finds this beautiful woman who is a mermaid. And she reveals to him that that was her that he saw some years ago. And, you know, he's quite smitten with her, but in a very, I don't really know how to word it. Like, he doesn't, it doesn't seem like he romantically loves her, but, you know, he does love and care for her. She's a huge inspiration to him. And he finds that she has this sore down on her stomach because she's topless. Just this little bloody sore. This infection from being down in the sewer too long. So he gets a bathtub, brings her up to the apartment, his apartment, and he starts to paint her. And as the film goes on, the infection gets worse and worse and spreads. Eventually, and it's all these boils and bumps and cysts and blisters. And when they pop, they all have different colored pus, which he uses to paint her portrait. Now, yes, it is kind of similar to Herschel Gordon Lewis's Color Me Blood Red. I doubt there's a similarity. I really do, because really the only connection is painting with, you know, human fluids. While that was a guy killing people to get red, you know, blood for red paint, the perfect color red, he's pretty much using it. They do say why, I don't really remember. I guess so he can stay there. He does get her some medicine, but it doesn't seem to work. But yeah, he uses, you know, there's green and yellow and blue. The pus is kind of hard to believe that is real. Not so much the consistency, but the color. I mean, sure, maybe. But overall, the effects, I would say, are definitely the most one over the top, because I mean you literally have boils on top of cysts with blisters on top of the boils spreading all over, and I mean by the end of the film it's covered pretty much everything but like this, and there's parts where they just burst and it's like a geyser of the different colored fluids. It is really disgusting. But you know, it's played very serious. You know, it's not like, imagine Dead Alive, but if it was played serious, not played for laughs. Sort of be like that. I like the sort of tragic love story. Part of the reason why I like Audition, part of the reason why I like that one segment, I think it's called Lament on Scary or Die. And she just keeps getting worse and worse, and her body keeps getting more and more covered in these sores and infections. And then, of course, she just keeps exploding with all this shit. Eventually, I think he does kill her out of mercy. And the ending's kind of weird and confusing, because he has these two neighbors. I don't know if they're brother or sister or a couple, but the girl that lives there is a pretty bad actress. And they're like sitting, they live downstairs, the blood's coming down from the ceiling. They go up to check on him, and he's pretty much, while her infections get worse, his mental state kind of does. Like, his hair gets more messed up, he's more in like a trance. He's not really there or doing anything else. He's just committed to painting and taking care of her. But it seems like there was no mermaid in there towards the, like, at the end. So when they find him, it's just like, well, who'd he kill? I'm sure people will tell me, even though I don't really care that much. I mean, it's a guinea pig film. It's not like story really matters. And if you're interested in Guinea Pig, there's also, starting back in 2014, there was a revival called American Guinea Pig, which my good friend, explorer of horror, the horror boy, he just did the first um, film of the American Guinea Pig series. I don't know if he's seen any of these or not, but yeah, give these a try, dude. So, really, where this movie shines, if anything, I guess kind of story. I like the idea. The story could have been better if it was just his dying wife and just whatever ailment she has. Is, yeah, she's getting the same sores, and you could have still had the same story. The mermaid aspect, I don't know if it was just to make it, more destruction of beauty or something along those lines. It just kind of took it more to like the left field. But I still like the first two. I mean, Devil's Experiment can be kind of boring. But once it actually starts getting fucked up, and compared to the rest, I do like Devil's Experiment. Flowers of Flesh and Blood is still my favorite. Once they started telling stories, like with number 3, He Never Dies, I already ranted on that. I think that movie sucks ass. Telling stories is not Guinea Pig's strong point whatsoever. But of the 4 that are more story narratives and not the fake snuff films, I would say this is the best. This is, like, I don't even hate this film or totally dislike this film. It's one of the ones I've seen the most. I can get into the story. I really like the effects. Obviously, it's not going to be as realistic as, say, Flowers of Flesh and Blood, just because of the context of what's supposed to be all fucked up. But for what it is, I can buy into it. I can buy, okay, there's this disgusting, inhumanly colored pus coming out of her blisters. But yeah, definitely one of the better Guinea Pig films. Definitely the best of the traditional narrative ones. But now I have to get to Android of Notre Dame, and then I have to rewatch Devil Doctor Woman, which I'm not excited for. But anyway, so stay tuned for Android of Notre Dame. Thank you for watching.